face, suit crisp, smile sharp, eyes hunting for someone to punish. Across the polished floor, a rusted Mustang sat crooked in a VIP lane, paint flaking, one headlight fogged like it had lived through storms. Elijah Brooks kept his gaze down as he pushed a gray mop bucket past the check-in desk. His gloves squeaked when he tightened his grip. He moved like he was trying not to take up space, like he'd learned attention could turn mean fast. People noticed anyway. A marketing guy leaned toward a co-worker. Is that a joke display? Some heritage stunt? A woman beside him smirked. No, that's somebody's whole life. Marcus spotted Elijah and laughed, short and ugly. Hey you, mop guy, that your museum piece out there? He didn't wait for an answer. He waved a hand toward the crowd gathering behind him. Phone's already up. I'm presenting next-gen propulsion to defense partners and investors, and you pull up in a junkyard souvenir? A few chuckles popped, then more. Like permission had been granted. Elijah's jaw tightened once. He swallowed. His eyes flicked to the security guards, then to the floor, then back to the Mustang through the glass doors. For a second, it looked like he might vanish into a hallway. Instead, he rolled the bucket into a corner with careful precision, as if control still mattered somewhere. Outside, the air bit at his cheeks. He slid into the Mustang, hands steady, shoulders loose like this was routine. People drifted closer to the windows. Someone whispered, "Watch him stall it." Marcus followed, grinning, savoring the spectacle. "Go on," he called, loud for the cameras. "Start it. Let's hear the masterpiece." Elijah set his palm on the worn steering wheel. His thumb brushed a split in the leather, almost gentle. Then he turned the key. No roar. For a beat, nothing happened. A laugh started to rise, thin and eager. Then the Mustang came alive in near silence, a smooth, controlled hum that didn't belong to any muscle car. The sound didn't shout. It settled into the building like a secret, finally spoken. Phones stopped moving. Smiles froze mid-stretch. Even Marcus blinked, fast, like his mind had slipped. Then the hum deepened, not louder, just heavier, like power held back on purpose. The glass doors quivered. A banner fluttered without a breeze. Elijah looked up through the windshield at the crowd watching him. Calm, unbothered. Nobody laughed. Not one soul. Inside, an engineer's voice slipped out, barely more than breath. "What is that?" The room never fully recovered from the silence. Conversations restarted in fragments, low and uneasy, like people checking if it was safe to speak again. Marcus stood rigid, smile gone, eyes fixed on the Mustang as if it had personally embarrassed him. Security moved first. Not rough, just firm hands on Elijah's arm as he stepped out of the car. Elijah didn't resist. He didn't explain. He let them guide him back inside while the hum faded behind him, leaving a strange pressure in the air. Marcus didn't shout now. That scared people more. "Who is he?" Marcus asked, voice flat, already walking. Not what he does. Who he is. By noon, Marcus's office screens were filled with files. Employment records. Archived research papers. Old conference footage pulled from forgotten servers. Elijah Brooks didn't exist in recent years, but 15 years ago, he was everywhere. NASA badges. Propulsion symposium panels. Grant acknowledgments buried under names Marcus recognized too well. A junior analyst leaned in, whispering like the walls had ears. He vanished after his wife died. Cancer. Same year his work stopped being cited. Marcus leaned back, fingers steepled, pulse climbing. He felt the familiar itch of ownership. If something existed, it could be bought. If it couldn't, it could be taken. He summoned Elijah to a side conference room. No audience. No cameras. Just glass walls and city noise far below. "That engine," Marcus said, nodding once, "isn't janitor money." Elijah met his eyes. There was no fear there. Just distance. Marcus slid a printed offer across the table. $500,000. Clean. Immediate. You hand over the car. I make problems disappear. You walk away comfortable. Elijah didn't touch the paper. It's not for sale. Marcus laughed, confused now. Everything is. Elijah's voice stayed level. That car is the last thing my wife built with her hands. You don't get to price that. The refusal landed wrong. Marcus's jaw flexed. He stood abruptly, chair scraping sharp against the floor. Through the glass, assistants pretended not to stare. Then you're done here, Marcus said. Badge. Keys. Effective immediately. Elijah nodded once, slow. He placed his badge on the table with care, like setting something down for the final time. As he walked out, snippets followed him down the hall. Should have taken the money. Man got bold real quick. Guess genius doesn't pay rent. Elijah didn't look back. That night, Marcus stood alone in the garage beneath the building, staring at the empty VIP spot where the Mustang had been, his reflection warped in the polished concrete. For the first time, the laughter from earlier replayed wrong in his head, and he hated that it did. The announcement hit on a Tuesday morning, quiet at first, then everywhere at once. Helios Vector Systems. Federal clearance granted. Defense oversight verified. Funding approved. The headline didn't shout. It didn't need to. Engineers shared it in private threads. Investors forwarded it without comment. Inside Whitfield Aeronautics, conversations stopped mid-sentence. Marcus read the release twice, then a third time slower. A regenerative propulsion engine. Closed-loop energy recovery. No external fuel source. Field tested. Proven stable. The demonstration vehicle was listed at the bottom, almost casually. 1969 Ford Mustang. Marcus's stomach tightened. He slammed his laptop shut and stood, pacing like movement might rearrange reality. Assistants scattered. One whispered, "That's the janitor's car," like saying it softer might make it less true. Marcus ordered replication team assembled within hours. Senior engineers. Archived patent access. Everything his father had ever locked away. The first test failed. Violently. The second didn't ignite at all. By the fifth attempt, an exhausted engineer rubbed his face and muttered, "The math works. The system doesn't." Marcus demanded answers. He pushed harder. Threatened bonuses. Then jobs. Then careers. Nothing changed. The engine designs behaved like empty shells. Power surged, collapsed, destabilized. Late that night, Marcus made a call he'd avoided for years. The man on the other end had known his father before the empire, before the clean image. The pause after Marcus explained was long, heavy. "You really don't know," the man finally said. Marcus listened as the story unfolded. How two young engineers, Elijah and Naomi Brooks, had developed a foundational system decades earlier. How Whitfield Aeronautics had acquired it quietly. How filings were altered, names reassigned, credit erased. They were buried, the man said. Your father made sure of it. Marcus sat down hard, phone pressed to his ear, knuckles white. The office felt smaller, like the walls had leaned in to listen. He opened old patent records with new eyes. The gaps made sense now. The missing steps. The unexplained leaps. Naomi's handwriting appeared in margins, scanned so faint they'd been ignored for years. Marcus felt something unfamiliar crawl up his spine. Shame. Across the city, Elijah stood in a modest workshop, hands stained with grease, watching a small team calibrate equipment. No speeches. No press. Just work. Someone nearby whispered, "That's him." Like it was a rumor that might vanish if spoken too loud. Elijah didn't react. He adjusted a dial, listening to the low, patient hum of a system finally understood. When the test stabilized, the room exhaled together. Elijah allowed himself a small nod. Not pride. Closure. Back at Whitfield Aeronautics, Marcus stared at his reflection in a dark screen. The empire he stood in suddenly felt borrowed. Temporary. And for the first time in his life, He knew exactly who it had been taken from. Marcus waited 3 days before going to Elijah. No entourage, no lawyers, no press notice. He drove himself, hands tight on the wheel, suit wrinkled like it had been slept in. Helios Vector Systems didn't look like an empire. No glass tower, no marble lobby, just a low industrial building humming with quiet intent. Inside, engineers moved with purpose, not panic. They spoke softly, traded glances, adjusted instruments by feel. Nobody rushed. Nobody postured. Marcus felt out of place the moment he stepped in, like noise walking into a library. Elijah spotted him from across the floor. No surprise, no anger, just recognition. They sat in a small office off the main bay. The walls were bare. A single photo sat on the desk. Elijah and Naomi, younger, grease on their cheeks, laughing beside the Mustang frame. Marcus didn't ease into it. "My father stole your work," he said. The words tasted wrong. "Necessary. He destroyed your careers. Built everything I inherited on it." Elijah listened without interruption. His fingers rested flat on the desk, steady. Marcus continued, slower now. "I tried to rebuild it. I failed. Every time." Elijah stood and retrieved a worn binder from a shelf. He placed it in front of Marcus and slid it forward. "Those are the originals," Elijah said. "Handwritten. Hers and mine." Marcus opened it. The pages weren't neat. They were alive. Corrections layered over ideas. Notes arguing with themselves. This wasn't corporate engineering. It was conversation. Partnership. "There's one condition," Elijah said. Marcus looked up. "Understand balance," Elijah said. "Not force. Not extraction. If you can do that, you'll know you're not him." Marcus swallowed. He nodded once. The next weeks broke him. He resigned publicly, citing personal reasons that fooled no one. He locked himself in a private lab and tried again. And again. Every failure exposed the same flaw. He was pushing, dominating, taking more than the system could give back. Meanwhile, investigators arrived at Whitfield Aeronautics. Quiet at first, then louder. Old contracts surfaced. Patent trails connected. Whistleblowers found courage. The story exploded. Stock collapsed. Boards dissolved. Assets froze. Marcus was indicted before he finished his final prototype. In court, the evidence spoke without drama. The fraud was clean, precise, undeniable. The verdict came fast. When Marcus stood to hear it, he felt oddly calm, like a debt had finally been named. Across town, Elijah shut down the workshop lights late that night. He lingered by the Mustang, resting his hand on the hood. "You'd have liked this part," he murmured, voice low. The engine ticked softly as it cooled. Balanced, patient. Justice didn't arrive with applause. It arrived with truth, and it stayed. 6 months later, the world had adjusted. Helios Vector Systems dominated every serious aerospace conversation. Not loud, not flashy, just unavoidable. The regenerative engine rewrote efficiency models, grounded old assumptions, embarrassed companies that once claimed the future was already owned. The Mustang appeared in journals, hearings, quiet documentaries. Same rust, same silence, verified proof. Elijah kept driving it. He avoided stages and panels. He preferred the workshop, the smell of oil, the low murmur of machines behaving the way they were meant to. People treated him carefully now, like sudden respect might shatter. He didn't correct them. He didn't chase it. Marcus's life shrank. After prison, there were no offers, no callbacks. The name carried weight, just the wrong kind. Nights found him behind a gas station counter, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, hands smelling of fuel and receipts. Customers didn't look at him long. That suited him. One evening, near closing, a familiar shape rolled in. The Mustang. Marcus froze. The hum reached him before the sight did. Calm, controlled, alive. Elijah stepped out, jacket worn, expression easy. He met Marcus's eyes without surprise. Recognition passed between them, quiet and complete. No triumph. No bitterness. Elijah paid in cash. Exact change.